What's up, Treehouse Tribe? Bringing you guys a brand new card game. With this video is gonna be me and my friend trying to learn how to play Grand Archive. It's a brand new game. Kind of came out like a couple of weeks ago, and I've really been enjoying it. It's like Weeb, Flesh and Blood, plus some magic, or not magic, more like Hearthstone. But it's got some interesting mechanics. It's got like the Flesh and Blood, like you got a hero, you got equipment, you got but you also have like the Hearthstone side of it where you have spells you have to play and like minions, but the minions heal at the end of your turn, kind of like in Magic. So it's just, you know, it's got influences from everything, just like any card game. So the biggest thing that I'd like to start off with is the way that how the resource system in this game works, and it's pretty cool. So as you can see, I played Creative Flame or Creative Shock, which is a 3-cost spell, and the way you initiate that is you play 3 cards down into what is called your memory gauge or your memory zone, and those stay there. And then here I'm playing a 1-cost, so I put another card down, and that allowed me to, it's a scry effect, lets me look at the top whatever, and then it's got a floating memory ability, which we will get into in a second. But basically your hand size is your mana pool, essentially, right? If I want to play a 3-cost, I have to put 3 cards down, make them unusable, air quotes, and then I can play my 3-cost spell. So here, Creative Shock was 3 cards, I put 3 cards down. Idle Thoughts was 1 cost, I put 1 card down, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pass the turn. We're just getting set up with the way the health works in this game. So it's kind of interesting. Your hero actually gains health as you level up, which is another mechanic in the game that makes it different from Flesh and Blood. Like, your hero actually levels up, so you also get that like cool like boss monster Digimon mechanic that I've loved so much. Like, you know, you got your rookie and you end up at your mega, like that's always cool. So here you have your champion and you go all the way to level 3, and you start off at, and another thing I should mention is you start off as these spirits. The life is up there, but we're gonna move it later. Don't worry too much about it. I'll show you guys later. So you start off with your spirit. That's the first thing you can play from what is called your material deck, and inside your material deck is where your hero is and your weapons and stuff. So how do I say this? Right, so here my opponent, he's playing his spirit. It's the first thing you have to play out of your material deck, the material deck being like a side deck where all your heroes are, or your hero levels are, your hero tree, or like, you know, your rookie to your mega is right in there in the material deck, as well as all your weapons, air quotes, and regalia, they like to call it, so rings and books and stuff. But here's one of the main ways that the game is structured. You have your spirit. As you can see on the green side, we have a fire spirit. Having a fire spirit allows you to play red cards, which is what Creative Shock was, right? And my opponent has a water spirit, which allows him to play water cards, right? And that's how the deck structure on one level works. Whatever your spirit is helps you play certain cards. Then there are other cards that are like Idle Thoughts, which have the norm element. But all that really means is anyone can play them. They don't have an element, they don't have a requirement, they're just base cards. Everyone can play them. So just like Hearthstone, you know, Hearthstone has class cards, and then they have everybody cards, right? Right here, my opponent plays Kingdom Informant. It has Stealth. Basically, Stealth is just I forget. It's on the screen. You probably can pause it and read it. But basically, my units can't attack into something with Stealth unless they have Stealth. I think that's what that is. We're just going videos kind of fast. Also, all minions there is no summoning sickness. So he summoned his minion, and he's allowed to just immediately swing, and he's going to do one damage. He's attacking my spirit, which is my leader. You know, start of my turn, I'm going to level up into my actual hero, which is Rai, Spellcrafter, or whatever. And the way that works is, if you saw, he has a cost. He has a cost of 1. So normally what you would do to pay that cost is you would take a card from your memory at random and then banish it. And then as you saw there, I leveled up, banished a card, air quotes, I'll get to it, and then redrew my entire memory and then drew a card, and now I'm playing my turn. Idle Thoughts has what's called floating memory, And floating memory essentially is a graveyard effect that lets you circumvent the banishment requirement to play spells. So also Ignite the Soul will have this floating memory cost, which will come up later, which will help me play things from my material deck. I know I probably didn't explain that right for anybody who is not really like into the game, but there's better guides out there. If this video is enough to get you guys interested, then it's good enough to get you guys interested. And then you can learn it better from somebody else. Rai, the 2 counters on my hero here are called enlightenment counters. It's kind of Rai's thing. Mage, it's kind of like the mage mechanic so far. Basically, if you have 3 at any point, you can sacrifice 3 counters and draw a card. Here I played I don't remember what I played, but we have 3 floating memory. We're explaining my friend leveled up to his hero Zander, and that's the other half of what goes into building your deck, air quotes, and like limiting your deck. So you start off by so there's 2 halves. You choose the hero line you want to go, and you choose the element you want to play in, and any hero can play any element. With the stipulation we'll get to a little later, but the spirits, there's 4 of them. There's water, or is there 3? There's water, air, fire, and maybe that's it. There's 3 elements. There's 3 spirits. So your hero can be within any of those. You can choose any 3 of the spirits, and then you can choose any hero on top of that. Yeah, and my friend, he puts up what's called a preparation counter on his hero called Zander, because that's the effect or whatever. Not really too familiar with all the Zander stuff. This was just one game. We were just trying to learn, and I recorded it, so here we are. Another interesting mechanic is for your heroes, you actually gain life as you level up. So your spirit starts at like what, 15 life, and then you leveled up to your level 1. Now you're at 20 life or whatever. You know, like, I'm not barring numbers, right? Like I don't have a lot of memory. I'm really bad at memory. But so that's why the habit has become, instead of counting down your life, you count up, because your life could change. So it's easier just to count up how much damage you've taken so far. And you can heal it. I don't think you can over heal, right? Or shield yourself yet, but maybe that's a mechanic in the future. I don't know. The Hearthstone did it. But it's still my friend's turn. He's going to play Port Smuggler. He's going to put 2 cards down into his memory, which allows him to play that spell. And then he's going to immediately swing. I take the 1 damage. And this game actually, like, so far you haven't seen it, but there's actually a lot of interaction in this game. There's Yu-Gi-Oh players, you got quick play spells. Magic players, you got instant cast spells. You have there are cards that will, on the bottom right corner, that will say slow or they will say fast. And fast spells you're allowed to play during your opponent's turn in the same way. You have to be able to put down cards into your memory area to pay the cost. Here I leveled up to level 2 from my material deck, and I banished 1 and then used a floating memory from my grave. So as you saw, my opponent picked one of my memory cards at random, and right above my deck is it was an arcane blast or whatever. That paid for 1 of the 2, and then I had a floating memory in the grave that played for the other one. So I only had to banish 1, but you can kind of see, like, you have to play something on your turn, and then as your turn starts, you can use that resource to play something from your material deck or your equipment deck or whatever you want to call it. And that loops into saying, all right, you lose hand size, which means you can play less stuff during your turn, but the floating memory cards help you keep that hand size going. So it's a neat deck building thing. How many floating memory cards do you want in your deck to support all the material? It's called materialization. So when you summon something from the material deck, it's called materialization. So how much floating memory do you need to help facilitate all the materialization that you will be doing from your deck? It's interesting. I don't know what to say. It's interesting. And now my guy is level 2. He gained a little bit more health, and I used one of the preparation counters to draw, and now my guy has the effect of the first mage spell I cast per turn, gain 1 counter. Friend here is gonna digivolve into Zander level 2. Just as some effects or whatever. I can't go too in depth. I'm still ignorant. I'm still trying to learn. There's so many little rules that I still don't know. But I thought I'd just post this video out to just show people that the game exists and I'm playing it. And I plan to commentate my normal style, like a little faster, a little less tutorial-y for people. Hopefully the scene grows. If you're in the Orlando area, come to House Rules Gaming. I always link it at the bottom of my description, and you just come over. We're trying to grow the scene. Sundays. I don't want to fully dox myself, so just look it up yourself if you're that interested. Call the guy to ask for the time, and we want to play. There's local tournament support. The company's great. It's a Kickstarter game, but like it's one of like the most successful Kickstarters for a card game that's been around. So, it's got some fun behind it. But yeah. I'm just fiddling with my fiddling with my memory gauge. You're allowed to look, I was told, at your memory gauge whenever you want. It's not a big deal. You just obviously can't like pretend to use it. That would be weird. And my opponent is gonna play Sink into Oblivion, which I don't know what that does. I couldn't read it fast enough. I look at the top 3 of my deck and then reveal the first element card. Oh, he's gonna choose himself. Oh, he mills the top 3 cards and then gets to do something for that. I don't know why he chose himself. Oh, he gets to reveal his. Oh, he gets a preparation card? I don't know, man. We don't know much. I'm woefully aware of how ignorant I am, and this is definitely like a dunce video. I really just wanted to show off the game because I've been having a lot of fun with it. But here I'm going to floating memory again, and we're gonna level up to level 3. So level 3 is as high as heroes go for now. And what your level 3 does actually gives you access to what is called in this game advanced elements. So earlier on, I mentioned that there's fire, wind, and water as your spirit elements. Your heroes, when they level up to level 3, as you can see on the top right of the card, give you access to what are called I think it's called the advanced elements. And so far in this matchup, my Rai, mage guy, can get has his advanced element is arcane. So now that I'm level 3, I have access to playing arcane spells, which is just, you know, they're kind of like lightning spells, which is cool for some reason because lightning's dope. And then my opponent Zander, his level 3 will give him access to Luxum, which is like the light element in the universe. And then on top of that, there is Crux, which is kind of like a if you play Guild Wars, it's like Mesmer, it's like purpley. I don't want to say it's like Shadow or Evil because like I've never gotten that vibe from those cards. It's more like Psychic. I don't know. It's like Mind or I don't know. I don't want. I'm hesitant to say like Dark Magic, but like eh. And then the last one is Terra, which is like Earth and stuff, which is cool. Nothing weird, nothing wrong. We fireball his guy, I think, and then whatever. So my leader here, his effect is you can, what's it called? He gains a level, like air quotes, he gains a level per arcane spell I have banished. I have what I can see, from what I can tell, I have 2 arcane spells banished. So I'm sitting on board passively as a level 5. And then this comes into play because a lot of certain cards and certain archetypes care what level you are. So if you saw there, I played what was it called? I can't remember, sorry. But like essentially some cards will do more damage based on the level you are. Some cards will like get cheaper. It's called level efficiency. So the higher level you are, the cheaper the spell would be per level. So like something like Arcane Blast costs 11, but has level efficiency. So now something like that would cost me only 6, right? Because I'm at level 5 minus the 5 minus from 11 or 6, right? And so it just that's how my game plan works. The Zander deck, which is in front of me, is the assassin. It's called it's like Zander's the hero, but he's an assassin class. So the assassin class does a bunch of stuff, yada yada. And his whole gimmick is like the preparation counters, and he can like reveal his memory to me using certain effects, and then those cards will have certain effects if they're revealed from the memory. So it's like a combo-esque, like you pay for spells and then you reveal those cards, and then they just let you do things, right? Here we've taken a lot of damage, don't worry. It's part of the game plan for Rai to just kind of just muster up as much advantage as I can over time. Here we're gonna summon our first card from the materialization deck, or the material deck. I think we're gonna summon Stono. It's like the Ring of Jordan or something. Ring of the Grand Crusader, or Grand Crusader's Ring. It's a generic, like it's one of the expensive cards right now that say like you summon it for free, trap, banish it, draw a card. And as we've gotten into, drawing a card in this game is like drawing mana almost. So hand advantage, or having a hand, is quite important. Here I'm just telling him, hey, I'm level 5 at all times because we're cool like that. And as you saw, my opponent actually summoned a dagger. Your heroes can't swing unless they have an attack. They don't have a baseline attack, so most of the time you're having to summon weapons from your equipment or material deck to then attack. And then those weapons, kind of like Hearthstone, have durability, which every time you swing, it'll lose a durability. And there's plenty of mechanics that involve durability, etc., etc. Here, I'm not quite sure what I played, but we played a thing. We're choosing, it's for, oh, we played the Old Man. I love that card. That card essentially lets me gain a bunch of enlightenment counters. Or maybe I didn't play that card. No, I definitely did. So, I don't know. Then we played an owl. Let's us scry. And then... oh, you know what? We probably played the Old Man and just immediately used the counters to draw. Sorry. I'm not the best at following the game yet. We'll get there. We'll get there, homies. But yeah. What else? There's other heroes, right? There's other classes. So the game is kind of class-based too. Right now we have Mage, Warrior, Assassin, and Tamer, which is like a summoner, bard-ish kind of role. They like sing songs, summon beasts, and then they like swing their beasts at you. And then from what I heard, we have 3 more classes on the way, and they won't come out until set 3. And those classes being Cleric, Guardian, and Ranger. So the game isn't at air quotes full power yet when you think of it in terms of the classes, but I digress. It's still good, cool to get into this stuff early. We have an owl on board. He's cool. We're just hoping not to die yet. My opponent's going to play choking, the Orb of Choking Fumes from his material deck. He had a floating memory card in his grave, so he was able to banish that instead of paying cost from revealing or from his memory pool. He's going to immediately use it. I'm not quite sure what that does because my memory is awful right now. But right now I've got all the cards on screen, so if there's any card you're not quite sure I played, it's there. Yeah, we're both just I don't know, man. This was one of our first games. Like I had just built the deck off of like a list I got from one of the popular YouTubers for this game, Gazimus. It's like he's like a purple and he's got like a Spartan icon logo. So I'm sure if you look up like Grand Archive gameplay, he'll pop up. Him and like main deck, as far as I'm aware, are like the 2 main guys, and there's a couple that float around, but like those are the 2 ones that like kind of pop up the highest when you search stuff. So kudos to them. Yeah, we're just reading, man. I don't know what else to tell you. But yeah, the game right now, like it's there's still the honeymoon phase, right? Like it's a new game, everything's new. You're not committed to anything mentally, like you're not sold on any particular archetype, so you have all the freedom to just like play the field and find out what you like. And that's always a fun feeling in card games. Whereas like once you're like 8 sets in, you either are in the hamster wheel of being forced to play whatever power crept thing exists, and then or you do the Pokemon or Magic thing where your favorite deck is just going to rotate out eventually. And honestly, neither system's that great. I wish there was just a better way to like support stuff in card games, but I get it. I think if I had to choose, I would choose the Magic / Pokemon route of like just having a rotation, being forced into something new rather than clinging onto the hope that I could keep playing my old stuff. But I'm also like, you know, I also am privileged enough to just be able to like play the card games I want to try and get cards as I need them. And I know that not everyone's in that position, so some people like being able to play the meta deck that's meta today and then have that deck last a few, you know, from a year or two or something. Here we're gonna play Creative Shock again. Draw 2 cards, discard a card, and that'll let us, I don't know. We're gonna discard a fire card, which if you discard a fire card with Creative Shock, it lets you do some damage. We're gonna do 2 damage to the Guardian lady, and then I think the plan is to probably just shoot a tiny little fireball at it for 1 damage. So what's the plan? There we go. We're gonna do 1 damage and I like the spell. Ignite the Soul is good. It's another floating memory card, which, as we've discussed, floating memory is very good. And I'm going to swing with the owl. Takes 1 damage. Yay me. Poor little guy. I've done 2 damage. I promise. Ooh, he's going into level 3. Zander, which gives him Spell Shroud and Stealth, which makes him very unattackable this turn. I'm not able to target. Spell Shroud is hexproof / I don't know what it is in Hearthstone that says like you can't target it with spells. I think it's just Stealth in Hearthstone also, but I don't remember. But it's hexproof in Magic. And then Stealth is kind of like flying in this game, it feels like, from Magic, where only cards with Stealth can attack each other, basically. But he's level 3. He's gonna do some stuff. What's he gonna do? He's up to 3 preparation counters. He's gonna draw a card, and then what's the plan? He's thinking about playing that top card in his hand. Maybe I should have sped this up. No, I'm sorry. I was, you know me. I'm just trying to like learn. And if I could be more in depth, I would. I'm still learning. Like I barely know my wizard mage man. I'm starting off by trying all the different elements with my wizard man instead of like learning every hero stuff. So forgive my ignorance. The game's been out 2 weeks. We still play Digimon in this house. We still play One Piece. We also raid a lot in WoW. Also, WoW just had a new update, so that's been taking a lot of my time. So I just haven't had the time, man. He's gonna play the Highwayman, and I'm explaining stuff to him, and I'm not quite sure what I'm explaining. So, yeah. We've taken 8 whole damage. I think I'm holding my grave. Yeah, I don't know why I'm holding my grave. It's weird. Stop that. Stop that. Please? There we go. Oh, he's gonna kill my bird? That's like extra rude. Bird didn't deserve that. Oh, did he not? Oh, he did damage to me. Okay, that's fine. Alright, we're at 11. It's my turn. I'm going to Floating Memory, a Tome of Knowledge. Seems like we're finally drawing into some cards that, so remember, my opponent still has Spell Shroud, meaning I can't attack him with, target him with spells, so this is probably just going to be like a giga setup turn, I'll tell you what. Oh, and again, the Tome of Knowledge increases my level by 1, I think, while it's on board. So now I'm level 6 passively, which only helps me do all the stuff I want to do. Here I am just mapping out my turn, right? Because you have to choose, you know, you have to map out your turns in this game in a different way. You have to, oh, we're peering into the mana, which gives me a ton of enlightened counters. We're gaining 6 counters, which puts us up to, did I do that right? 2 plus 6 is 8. Okay, yeah. And then I'm probably gonna use a bunch of them to, probably just draw a bunch of cards. There's a neat combo in this deck that I like, but I haven't been able to pull it off in a in-person game yet. It involves Harness the Mana and Arcane Disposition, which basically says Arcane Disposition's like, oh, draw all these cards, but discard them all at the end of the turn. But Harness Mana says, okay, play this card and then put as many cards as you want into your memory field, which like circumvents the discarding your hand, because your whole hand is in the memory gauge and you can't discard that, or it doesn't tell you to discard that. We're going to we have a ton of memory counters. Oh, we passed the turn and it's my opponent's turn. He summoned a sword. So what's the play? His dagger does a bunch. Oh, his dagger's like on hit. You can't, if this dagger hits, you can't activate abilities, but my guy doesn't have too many activated abilities. And this is something I wanted to ask people. Well, we'll get there. I guess I won't spoil it yet. So if you're a Grand Archive rule nerd, rule homie, as we'll call it, because nerd's offensive. If you're a rule homie for Grand Archive, let me know. Tune in or stay tuned for like 30 seconds and I will have a question for you. He's going to drowned cut. So another type of spell in this game are attacks. So as you've seen, I've been playing spells and there are also what is called attacks. So this card has an attack value. You cast it and then it lets your hero attack somebody or something or whatever. You can choose to use your weapon during the attack to not only add the damage of your attack to the weapon, but to also like modify your weapon attack by the attack card. It's very interesting. Explaining some stuff. Like I really like some of the stuff goes over my head still. Yeah. So he's going to attack me, I assume. I don't know what's going on with all these cards. I'm just a lost puppy, man. Oh, I think he's resolving the effects of Drown Cut. Now he's choosing if he wants to add his weapon to the attack. I'm going to Spell Shield Arcane, which is a fast card, which allows it to play it during the turn. I can negate the instance of damage, and gain enlightenment counters based on how much damage I absorbed or whatever. So that my question for you rule homies out there is to tell me since the weapon damage did 0, does the effect still technically connect? I didn't negate the hit, right? I negated the damage, so is it technically still hit, or does it have to do damage to be considered a hit? See what I'm saying? I get confused with this stuff. So here is supposedly what the Zander deck really wants to be doing, and it's you play a card, you reveal your memory after playing the cards through an effect of some kind, and a lot of your cards will have on reveal effects. And here I'm just gonna pop off finally. We're gonna play Arcane Insight, which gains me a level and draws me a card. I'm gonna gain a level counter, or a whatever counter, because it's a mage spell. That goes to my grave. And then I think we're still level 5, 6 at all times here. Still have my bird on board. That's cool. We're gonna do it again, draw a card, gain a level. So now we're level 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're now level 8 after all my plays. Yeah, so we're level 8, and then we're going to sacrifice Crystal of Empowerment to put us to level 10. And that's going to let us play Power Overwhelming, which lets me remove all my enlightenment counters and gain levels based on that. That basically puts me to level 22 now. Letting me play Arcane Blast for 1, doing 11 damage to him. And then I'm able to play... I'll put him down, and then the big shabam, wham bam, thank you ma'am, lets me play Fireball, which deals 1 plus 11, or 1 plus my level of damage. Since we're level 22, it does 23 damage. And I just go ham and press the button. He only has like 25 life. Like he's dead. And then I'm like, oh, by the way, my owl swings and I have a fireball in hand for another 1 damage, just in case. But yeah, that seemed explosive. But remember, both of us are really learning. There's plenty of ways to counter that. As you saw, I had Spell Shield Arcane, which negates instances of damage. So that big 25 fireball I did, you can negate that. So there's definitely a lot of counterplay. There's a lot of resource management. It's a cool game. Pick it up, try it out, come to the shop if you're in the Orlando area. I'm definitely trying to, as I said, grow the scene. It's a really fun game. Try it out. I recommend it. I'm gonna hopefully have more insightful commentary in the future. Please stick around for that. I want this game to succeed. So I'm doing my part by having video on it. Like, share, subscribe. Always appreciate the support. And I hope you guys try the game. Let me know if you like it. Have a good one.